So when I was before, and I continued the masters as well, but I didn't finish the masters for what's it called, for a while. Yani I didn't finish the masters. I studied a year and a half, and I didn't finish because of circumstances that have to do with health and so on and family. I remember what I indulged in, what I studied. I studied these philosophies. And what the Shaykh is talking about, wallahi, shows his experience. Because they take something that is so obvious, and they start talking about it as if it is something you don't know. As if it is something that... So, for example, they say, what is consciousness? And you can find this in the Hegelian dialectics, when they talk about synthesizing. Anyway, so what is consciousness? What do you mean, what is consciousness? Something, all of us know what consciousness is. Or what is it to be conscious when you're realizing what you're doing? Subhanallah. You know what? There's something called nihilism. In the German language, in Deutsch, they say Nihilismus. And the father of this nihilism, and deconstructionism, by the way, and all of this, a philosopher called Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche. And when you listen to what he's talking about, beyond good and evil, what is right and what is wrong, and how do we go beyond what is right and what is wrong? And how can we define what is right and what is wrong? And what is good and what is bad? What is good and what is evil? And how can we go beyond and transcend good and evil? And he indulges in this, and he has the idea of a poet and a prophet and so on, the idea of a prophet and so on and so forth. The same thing, by the way, with poetry. When you take a look at Romanticism, for example, Coleridge and William Wordsworth and so on, and how they define poetry, they say it is the spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions recollected in tranquility. And that poet is like someone who translates to the common people as they are people. Anyway, I'm not going to indulge in this heavily. But by the end of the day, what did Friedrich Nietzsche do? Committed suicide. That's what he did in the end. What did we benefit from him? That we're asking, skepticism basically, nihilism, destroying any type of meaning. Any type of meaning. It is like nowadays they put a picture of 6 in English, and they make one guy stand on top and the other one at the bottom. And they say, from his perspective it is 6, and from the perspective of the other guy, it is 9. So it is based on the context. We say no. And some people have even sent this as a message. They say, look, there is going to be a sign. There is a context that will show you this is a 6 or a 9. Absolutely so. Absolutely so. So these people are indulging in what is right and what is wrong, and what is beyond right and wrong, and what is truth and what is evil, and what is good and what is evil, and beyond. They want beyond. They want to transcend good and evil. Wallahi, if we punch one of them in the face, I have no doubt that he will say this is wrong. I have no doubt he will say this is wrong, and punching me in the face is wrong. We say, khalas, we beat some sense into you. But I'm not telling you to hit anybody. No, I'm not advocating for that. But you understand my gist. What I'm saying is that there are things which are what? Which are obviously wrong. Things which are very obviously to be, something is good, something is evil, something is wrong, something is... And they themselves will pontificate. They will talk about things like these. And they will start making judgments as well. But then they will say, well, what is judgment? And that which we accept in our rationality. Well, what is rationality? What is acceptance? There are the mental faculties at which we can discern from so and so. Like, what are our mental faculties? And so until the point that some of them started saying, how do I know I exist? How do I know? And some of them said, Descartes, for example, said, I think, therefore I am. And some Muslims, they followed them. So in the end, what he concluded is that because he thinks, then he exists. When is this nonsense, ya ikhwa? Wallahi, if you go to someone who's unlearned, if you go to someone who, what is this nonsense? What do we gain from this? Ya akhi, the amount of effort that you're putting into this, the power that you're doing something that benefits humanity. Do something that is good. Ya akhi, teach them good manners at the very least. You're wasting a lifetime and committing suicide in the end. And you still haven't answered these questions? And you're just asking questions and making people doubt, and people, because some people, when they understand something, they think it's rational. It's irrational. Not just because you understood something, it has to be right. Not because you have read a book, then it is, everything in this book has to be right. You understand? Barakallahu feekum. That's why this is what the Shaykh is saying. And they come to the Shaykh and say, what is a brain? Define a brain for us. After you define the brain, can you define it linguistically and with istilah, يعني with a definition that people agreed upon, and also Islamically, and also urfiyan, with that which is common to people? What is the benefit of it? What is this? You don't know what a brain is? You don't know what a rationality is? You don't know what logic is, reason is? And now we have to define and categories. Wallahi ya ikhwa, when you look at this, they have reached the point that they say, like Roland Barthes and Paul Deman and so on, they say in the end what? They say that the author himself doesn't know the meaning of what he's writing. La ilaha illallah. What's going on, ya ikhwa? Yani if I write something, I don't know the meaning of what I'm writing, they say there is no purpose for what, yani you cannot go to the writer and say, what did you mean by what you have written? They say, no, this is wrong, because there are other meanings and so. And then, not just that, they went to the point that they said, even the language itself doesn't hold meaning. Nothing. The language itself doesn't hold meaning. What's going on? I remember once I challenged this and I said, Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab. Yalla, who is Abu Lahab? The language doesn't know who Abu Lahab is. And history cannot tell us, and nothing can tell us who Abu Lahab is. Yes, we can. We know who Abu Lahab is. Yani, not just because they bring one example and show you that something logical, yani they show you something that has multiple meanings, and then they say the language itself doesn't have meaning. Who told you that? Who told you this? Ya akhwa, you see the nonsense I'm saying now? This has been, this in many, death of the author, and so on and so forth. Yani, so many theories and books are written about this, and now I sound to you what? Like what? How does this sound to you, barakallahu feekum? What is the point in this? Wallahi, if I go down, if I go and lie down and relax a little bit, that's a lot more beneficial to me than indulging in this nonsense.